What a headshot! What a head!
How's it guys, this is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. And in this video I'll be taking you guys through my transfer plan for the upcoming double game week 29. So yes, it is the international break at the current moment, but the biggest double game week of the season, double game week 29, is just on the horizon. So I wanted to make this video quite early on to give you guys the transfer plan, to show you guys some transfer routes that I could potentially go on. As with 2 free transfers and about 8.0 million left in the bank, there's quite a lot of routes that we could actually go on. Now, as with every transfer plan, I'm going to take a look at blank game week 28, see how the team got on in that game week. Was it a red arrow? Was it a green arrow? And you guys can also let me know how your game week went. Then I'll be moving on to the chip activation. The bench boost looks likely to be activated for the upcoming double game week. And then we'll go over the actual team and my transfers with those 2 free transfers in the back pocket. So that's something you guys are interested in. Sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So let's go over a quick review of blank game week 28. Unfortunately, it was going to be a red arrow for us. Relatively low scoring game week. However, the big captaincy swing of Saka vs Kane, we ended up on the bad side of it. So 48 points total and a small red arrow of about 20k places to 236k. Now I spoke about those 2 transfers in the introduction, but 8.1 million left in the bank, so massive upgrade can be made, but that might only be done in game week 30. More context about that in the upcoming transfer plan talking point, so don't worry too much. Now let's go over our bench, because the bench this week was pretty bare. We've got Raya, the only player that actually featured with the fixture, with 2 points. Now let's bring in Kepa right now, because we can kind of do a side-by-side comparison. Kepa unfortunately conceding 2 goals to Everton, lost that extra point in the die seconds. So Raya actually outperformed him 2-1. Then in terms of the rest of the bench, we've got our 3 Brighton assets, Matoma, March and Estupinan, who all didn't have a fixture. Completing our backline is going to be the double up of the Newcastle defense. We've got Trippier and Botman both losing the clean sheet and ending on 2 points. So once again, the Newcastle clean sheet has been wiped out, just shows you that they have been regressing to the norm, and that's not great for our defensive double up. Now they had a pretty lovely fixture and Dennis wiped out that clean sheet pretty early on, but at least Newcastle came back and won that fixture. Now the big talking point of this game week was, should you sell Henry to Chilwell? We actually held firm on this. The reason I went for this was that I wanted more information. Henry had a fixture, so did Chilwell. Yes, Chilwell's fixture was actually better than Henry's, but what ends up happening, Henry actually outperforms him 2 points to 1. So super happy with that. Not only did we get an extra point, but now we have a full international break, and I was a little bit worried about Chilwell being caught up to the England squad with his history of injuries. Now I'm not saying that the Chilwell move was a bad one. Obviously Chilwell could have gone massive, had a very good extra involvement in blank game week 28, but I just wanted that extra information. Then finally we got Gabriel on 2 points, so yes, our entire back 4 finished on 2 points. Unfortunately didn't start Raya over Kepa, as then we would have had a full house of 2s. So this just shows you that it was a pretty low scoring game week, and if you guys did use the free hit, that was a little bit unlucky. Now going to midfield department, and if you guys captained Saka, you would have been absolutely fine. A massive green arrow would have been on the cards, because he scored 18 points. So if I do recall, I think it was 2 goals and 1 assist, so a massive haul from him. And when we do look at Harry Kane later on, you guys will see the massive difference in that actual captaincy decision. Now in terms of Saka, just yet again showing why you guys can't sell him. If he scored 18 points in 1 fixture, even though other players had a double game week, you'd still be happy with those Saka points. Unfortunately his teammate I wasn't too happy with, Odegaard only ending on 2 points. Pretty bad game week overall. Even though Arsenal scored a few goals, Odegaard wasn't involved in any of them. And this just makes the decision of who to sell for this next game week even easier. Now yes, Odegaard has been playing pretty well, and this might be a little bit of recency bias, but I just think that Saka is the better FPL asset at the end of the day. Now final midfielder, I'm just going to sneak in here, it's an imposter. It's Marcus Rashford. He had a blank game week. I just had to include a blank game week option, as we only actually had 10 options with fixtures for blank game week 28. Now moving to our forward department, another transfer we made this week, one of those 2 free transfers was going to be Erling Haaland out to Ollie Watkins. Now this move on paper has netted us 5 points, but whatever Haaland scores next game week could put this into the negatives, as Ollie Watkins only got 1 assist. Now I was a little bit unhappy with Ollie Watkins' points, because Aston Villa scored quite a few goals in blank game week 28 and Ollie Watkins only got 1 assist. Now I thought he was more of a talisman than that, but unfortunately not. Talking about talismans, let's go over our next striker. It's going to be Ivan Toney, and he ended up on 2 points. Now pretty quiet game for Brentford overall. They ended that game 1-1, and I guess if you guys did captain Ivan Toney, that wouldn't have been that great of a game week. Now finally going over our captaincy option for blank game week 28, it was going to be Harry Kane, the most captained option within the higher ranks. I think he had an effective ownership around 140%, whereas Saka at my overall rank was about 100. So the safe captain of the game week unfortunately wasn't the one that got the points. 6 points doubled to 12, and when you do compare those 6 points to Saka's 18, you guys can see where there was a potential to actually gain. Unfortunately it wasn't meant to be. At least we do own Saka, as I have seen some managers that don't even own the Arsenal midfielder. But you guys in the comments down below can let me know how your game week went. Was there anyone that actually got a green arrow with Harry Kane captain? Think if you maybe owned a Maddison in the midfield department. Otherwise, as far as I know, all the high scorers were pretty differential. But you guys can say if you got a green arrow, a red arrow, where you guys currently sitting in the ranks, going to the biggest double game week of the season. But now shifting our focus to the upcoming double game week. Now before we go over the actual team and the transfer plan, I want to give you guys some insight into my chip strategy, and I will be activating the bench boost for double game week 29. As I've already mentioned in this video, the biggest double of the season, the bench looks pretty stacked, and I'm hoping for a massive green arrow this game week. Now you guys will get some clarity when I do talk about my team shortly, but I just want to let you guys know that I will be activating this chip for the upcoming game week. Now I haven't activated it actually, but you guys can cancel it if you guys want to. But let's just see how the international break goes, because let's just say we get kind of 4 big injuries, we might have to postpone the bench boost 1 or 2 game weeks. But for now we do plan to use it, and let's hope we get a massive green arrow. But now let's go over the actual context of the team before the transfer. So please remember, this is before I've used those 2 free transfers. I'm looking at using both of them. Might even go from -4 hit or -8 hit, depending on how the game week kind of plays out. But for the time being, the team currently looks like this. And just remember, we will be using the bench boost. So what I've tried to do is go for the most realistic bench after I make my transfers. You guys will see what I mean by this as I go through the team, so don't worry too much. But let's start off with the bench. So my bench currently consists of Raya, here's Brighton away, United away, tougher games on paper there, but I do trust him from a save point of view. So even though you might lose the clean sheets, maybe we get a few bonus points and save points. Then we have Harry Kane, Everton away, great fixture on paper, however under the new manager, after Conte looks like he's going to get sacked, how are Spurs actually going to play? But at least we do know that Harry Kane has been pretty consistent, and let's hope that continues against Everton away. Then we have Saka against Leeds at home. I've included my Arsenal asset of choice here, Bukayo Saka, and I'll be keeping him for the upcoming game week probably. Now Leeds at home is a great fixture on paper, however they haven't been conceding as many as they have in prior game weeks. But with Arsenal's attack looking red hot and Saka looking in good form, let's hope that he returns from international break injury free. Then we are doubling up on that Brentford defense with Henry, has that Brighton and United game obviously as well. Tough games from a defensive point of view, and now with Henry you don't have that save point potential like we do with Raya. Now we'll be looking to correct that in the transfer plan coming up, so just stay tuned for that. Now overall on our bench, you guys can see that I do think this is bench boost worthy with the current changes that we're going to be making with those 2 free transfers. I think our bench could look pretty respectable. Now moving into our actual starting 11, and you guys can see it's a 4-4-2 system. The reason I've gone for the 4-4-2 is currently optimizing the double game week players. Now starting goalkeeper is going to be Kepa, has Aston Villa and Liverpool both home fixtures, so quite a nice thing that both these 2 games are at home. Now, do I see too many clean sheets here? Probably not. Aston Villa quite an attacking side, and Liverpool also quite an attacking side. But like with Raya, maybe Kepa can get us some save points. Then we will be doubling up on the Newcastle defense. We've got United at home and West Ham away for Trippier and Botman. Not the best fixtures on paper, but against West Ham away, I'm hoping for a clean sheet. We then have a Stupinan, and Brighton's double looks pretty nice. We have Brentford at home and Bournemouth away. Let's hope that Stupinan plays both these games. As you guys know, he is playing in Australia for Ecuador, and there's been a lot of talk about him actually returning or not. So let's just wait and see, but if Stupinan is going to miss the first game, hopefully he hauls against Bournemouth away. Then our final defender to go for might be one that we actually transfer out. It's Gabriel against Leeds at home. Now do I see a clean sheet here for Arsenal? Yes I do. And a big talking point in terms of our transfers is, do we take out Henry or Gabriel? Right now Arsenal's defense looks pretty strong, even though they lost their clean sheet in game week 28. Now I'm going to move into the midfield department, and as I mentioned, I'll be keeping Saka, probably taking Odegaard out, but I could also vice versa that. Now yes, he has a great game on paper, but I do think he'll be outperformed by some double game week options. Right now I'm looking at Maddison or Bruno Fernandes. Talking about Manchester United, let's bring in Rashford right now. Has a pretty respectable double game week. Newcastle away, Brentford at home. I can see United scoring in both of those. And you guys know Rashford's form at the current moment. Now please wait and see for that injury news, because Rashford has pulled out of the England camp. But as far as I know, that's a pretty international break injury. So he should be fine for game week 29, but just wait for that 10 Hag press conference coming up later next week. Now completing our midfield department, we've got the double up in those Brighton midfielders, Matoma and Solly March. Great fixtures like his Stupinan. Would have loved to have McAllister as well, but I already have that Brighton triple up. Now before we go over Camsey, because it's really between Rashford and the Brighton mids, let's go over our forward department. Gonna start off with Ivan Toney, and he's escaped the yellow card suspension, but will he actually escape it in double game week 29? Let's hope so. He has Brighton away, United away, tough games on paper, but with the way Brentford are attacking right now, I at least can see them scoring in both these fixtures. So Ivan Toney's going nowhere, has a double game week coming up, is quite a talisman for Brentford. I mean, he could even get a penalty. Then finally we have Ollie Watkins, who has 2 away games, Chelsea away, Leicester away. We chose Ollie Watkins over Kai Havertz. Do I regret the decision? Not at the current moment, although I would have liked Kai Havertz's points in blank game week 28. Aston Villa are scoring pretty well, attacking pretty well, and against Chelsea and Leicester away, I can see a few goals there. But now that we've gone over our forward department, let's go over our Campsy debate, and as I mentioned, it's pretty much between Rashford and the Brighton midfielders. Now if Rashford is a doubt for double game week 29, then obviously we won't captain him, but right now I've got the armband on him. I just believe like we did over double game week 27, it's quite hard to predict which Brighton midfielder is going to score more points, so let's go for Rashford instead. Now yes, the Brighton fixtures look a lot better, but I just trust the form of Rashford at the current moment. But saying that, you guys can obviously go for whatever you want, and this is a very kind of early prediction of who I'm going to captain. So with no transfers made, you guys can see the team still looks pretty respectable. Double game week 29, it's quite easy to get a very good double game week side, but that bench boost is where the differentials are going to come. Let me know how your guys' team is currently setting up, what transfers are you guys planning for the future game weeks. Let's go over mine right now. So going on to the transfer plan for the upcoming game weeks, I'm actually going to start off this transfer plan with a game week 30 transfer. That's going to be Ivan Toney out for Erling Haaland. The reason I want to show you guys this is that you have to leave enough money in the bank if you guys want to do this move. So what you can do is on your transfer page, almost lock in this move, see how much money you have to play with, and before you confirm your transfer, just make sure that Toney's back in your squad. So come game week 30, Ivan Toney will be making way for Erling Haaland, whether he gets yellow card suspended for the upcoming game week, who kind of knows. But even if he will be featuring, I don't want Erling Haaland out of my squad for too long. You guys have seen how many goals he's been scoring, hat-tricks on hat-tricks. Let's hope that Liverpool managed to contain him in game week 29. So from game week 30 onwards, he has Southampton at home, Leicester at home, and then a blank. But just remember, we'll be using the free hit in game week 32 anyways. Compare that to Ivan Toney, has Newcastle at home and Wolves away, fine fixtures on paper, but I do prefer the Man City ones. So this transfer will be penciled in for the upcoming game week 30, so please just make sure that you have enough money if you guys do want to make this move. But now going back to our actual transfer plan for this game week, so ignoring the Erling Haaland move in game week 30, the one transfer that does look pretty penciled in is going to be Odegaard out. Now I mentioned this when I went over the team, but Odegaard or Saka, I could go for either of them, but currently I do prefer keeping Saka. So Odegaard out, has nice fixtures coming up, yes, but unfortunately not a double game week this week, and that's why the optimal replacement is going to be Bruno Fernandes. Now Bruno comes in with a double game week 29, also has a potential double coming up in the future, and that's why this is also a medium term move. In game week 30 has Everton at home, great game on paper, Nottingham Forest away. The only thing about him is that he is still in the Europa League, so there might be some rotation, however I do think he should be in most sides. So this move looks pretty penciled in at the current moment, barring any injuries, but there's another alternative I could go for. Kind of already mentioned this, but I could also go for James Maddison for Leicester, has nice fixtures coming up, Leicester have a brilliant double in 29, Crystal Palace away and Aston Villa at home. Both those two sides XG conceded is pretty bad, and then he has Bournemouth at home in game week 30. So this move might be an alternative that I could also go for, but currently Bruno Fernandes is edging it. But now going to the next transfer possibility, as mentioned, the two transfers will probably be used for this upcoming game week to take advantage of the double game weeks. The next transfer is probably going to be a defensive transfer, and it's going to be Gabriel out. Now Gabriel will be making way for Luke Shaw, so like Odegaard, we're going for an Arsenal to United switch here, as I do prefer the United fixtures. Now Luke Shaw should be nailed, there might be some rotation like a Bruno in terms of the Europa League, but let's hope that Luke Shaw does start most United fixtures. Same fixtures on paper, clean sheet odds are there, attacking threat is always going to be there from Luke Shaw's fullback position. Now the big debate this week is who I'm going to take out from a defensive point of view. It's Gabriel or it's Henry. So let's replace Gabriel right now with Henry, as I still can afford this move with the extra 0.4 in the bank. Now who do you think scores more points in double game week 29? Gabriel against Leeds at home or Henry against Brighton away and United away? For me, it's very close between those two, and that's why I'm siding with the Arsenal man, as his defense is slightly better than the Brentford one. So either of these two could make way for Luke Shaw, but there is another alternative that I could also go for, and that'll be for a certain Chelsea defender. So an alternative move, if I do want to go for a little bit of an extra defensive option, it's Gabriel out for Ben Chilwell. Now the only thing about this is I don't really see that many clean sheets coming up for Chelsea. Aston Villa at home, Liverpool at home, yes, home games, but I feel like Chelsea might concede in both of those. Now I should also point out that I'll have to do Gabriel out for Ben Chilwell, as I won't have enough money if I do Henry to Chilwell to do that upgrade from Toney to Haaland. So out of these defensive transfers, who do you guys prefer, Gabriel or Henry to Shaw, or do you think Gabriel to Chilwell could be worth the upside from an attacking point of view? Now yes, there are a few other transfers that I could also consider, could actually go for a Saka to Maddison if I do want to go for it, but I think for a minus for it, taking Saka out before Leeds at home might be a little bit bad. But lots of transfer routes to potentially consider, but the two I'm currently leaning towards are going to be Odegaard to Bruno Fernandes, and then Henry to Luke Shaw. Let me know what your transfer plans are going to be for the upcoming game week, what you guys think of my transfer plan. No hits will be taken at the current moment, but let's see how the international break plays out. But that's the wrap for the video, guys. Hope you did enjoy it. Don't like if you didn't subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I'll be seeing you guys for tons of content coming up shortly and next week, where we do finalize our bench boost team. Enjoy the international break, and hopefully the injuries are going to be at a low, and I'll come back to a massive score in double game week 29. But I'm going to sign off. This has been Dayvy FPL, and I'm out. Cheers, bye.